Captain America is perfect, right? He always does the right thing, he's selfless, and seemingly doesn't have a bad bone in his body.
Not a perfect soldier. A good man.
So why in the world couldn't he lift Thor's hammer?
Whoever is carrying Thor's fingerprints is, I think, the literal translation.
Yeah, I have a simpler one. You're all not worthy.
Captain America's biggest flaw. Steve's identity is built around fighting. He only finds worth and purpose through conflict.
What about the nurse that lives across the hall from you? She seems kind of nice.
Secure the engine room, then find me a date.
Look, like Vision can lift the hammer because Vision talks about the value of human life, not just wanting to destroy what he sees as evil.
But there is grace in their failings. I think you missed that.
This was explicitly established as being a flaw in the first Thor movie. Thor's arc, and what eventually lets him pick back up the hammer, is him learning to try to avoid violence whenever possible and not be a complete warmonger. In the words of General Sherman, I am tired and sick of war. Its glory is all moonshine. War is hell. Cap's first reaction to any problem still is just to punch it.
Isn't that the mission? Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight? So we get to go home?
But Captain America responds to that just with a moral statement of the right way to go about war. He doesn't answer the question, because Captain America's home is the battlefield. Not only is he unhappy when he can't go fight the Nazis, which is a noble cause by any definition, he's unhappy when he's lost and aimless without a fight at the beginning of Avengers. Also, he seemingly doesn't know what to do in Winter Soldier when it's kind of a gray area and he doesn't know who the bad guys are, and he can't just punch his way through a bunch of totally evil bad guys. Which eventually gets cleared up when the people he's against are shown to be Nazis again. The fact that he's always been against Nazis and aliens hides how much of a warmonger he is. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad guy, just the only time he feels like he's doing anything worthwhile is when he's fighting.
How do we know the good guys from the bad guys? If they're shooting at you, they're bad.
Like, let's look at the meaning of the word Winter Soldier. It's a soldier that keeps on fighting through winter and not just when the going is easy. So a lot of people have argued that the Winter Soldier in the title is not Bucky, who's literally the Winter Soldier, but rather Steve himself. Remember in Avengers 2 when Scarlet Witch makes everyone experience their deepest fears? Their existential fears? Black Widow's is her frightening past. Bruce Banner's makes him Hulk out and almost kill a bunch of people in a crowded city. Thor's is literally the apocalypse. Iron Man is everyone he knows dying and the earth falling to aliens. But do you remember what Cap's is?
The war's over, Steve. We can go home.
Here's the thing about those old-fashioned values Cap represents. They idealized war a little too much. And I guess that's why to have a former soldier be a virtuous hero, he has to be from World War II. Because that's the last war in the popular consciousness where everyone agreed our mission was 100% right. If he was an Iraq or Vietnam soldier this happy to go into combat and kill the enemy, he would seem terrible. To take this even further, what does it say about the American identity today? There's definitely a dualism between the good old-fashioned values that Cap embodies.
The price of freedom is high. And it's a price I'm willing to pay.
And the industrialist, futurist capitalists that want technology and efficiency to end all of humanity's problems, clearly represented by Tony Stark.
I don't like bullies. I don't care where they're from.
But those values of being selfless and doing the right thing, being applied to punching your way through the bad guy, not to mention the dehumanization of them into bad guys, are shown to have one big problem through Cap. Isn't why we fight so we can end the fight and go home? Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. My video on the 6 reasons why Ant-Man's powers are the most interesting. Not strongest, just most interesting.
There's usually only one thing that you can do.
What's that?
Go through his clothes and look for loose change.